Welcome to the Modernlegacy Podcast, where players, parents, coaches, and ambitious individuals reach the next level, both on and off the pitch. Every episode is packed with practical advice, real experiences, and conversations to help you develop and succeed. This podcast is proudly sponsored by our sister brand, Questa Sports, your official teamwear partner. Let's get into today's episode. Some people, it's great to have the sun as well. Well, today's topic is enough to reach the top. We're going to be discussing a couple of things, a couple of topics on this, okay? So our first topic today, Oisin, would be why academy slash club training alone isn't enough to reach the highest level. So I'll start with that one, okay? So yes, academy and club training is fantastic. You do need team coaches. They do play a key role into players' development. But when it comes to private training, whether it be individual sessions or private academy training, I do think they both play a key role for players to get to the top. You know, because the team coach will be working on the team setup on how you can help the team win. The private coaching, the individual coaching will be working on you as an individual, how you can get to the top, be the very best of yourself. So the combination of 1 + 1 = 2, you know what I mean? The combination of the team coach and the private academy or the private coach, if they're both elite, if they're both top level, you do have an opportunity to get to be the best version of yourself. So now, if both of them are not at the level, or if your private academy or private coach isn't at the level, it's also a waste of time. But if your team coach isn't at the level, it's also a waste of time. But I believe, like, if you're able to find a solid team coach, a solid private academy or private coach if you want to call it a personal coach, it is going to help you to get to the highest level you can get to. What about yourself when it comes to that, Oshie? Why academy and club training alone isn't enough to reach the highest level?
Yeah, I feel like academy and club training won't help you make to the very top, as well as combining the two, because with academy and club football, it's team based. So as long as the more older you get, the more you develop, the more focus on kind of tactical stuff in the game happens. Like how you're going to deal with this situation, your formation, and all that. Whereas you're not kind of allowing yourself to improve on your own individual flaws. Whereas if you get a one-to-one session or private coaching, you're working on your own faults and flaws and improving them. So you're improving yourself as a player, not just improving a team. And obviously, teams can work well. You can be spotted in teams and looked at as going, yeah, good team. He's very good and involved in this team environment. But then when you get moved to a new team, it's very hard to have that same chemistry if you're not already confident and technically good enough for that team. Like if you develop onwards and you haven't had any one-to-one coaching, you're still lacking in some technical abilities that others wouldn't be because they've got those one-to-one sessions to improve on their flaws.
Yeah, the next question is the difference between team training and individual player development. We start with that when it comes to the difference between team training and individual player development, as we just spoke about a minute or two. Team training are a little bit different. We run group sessions, but those group sessions are really about individual because we are not a football club. So we make sure that in the group environment, we focus on the individual. So when they go back to their clubs or they go back and play with their schools or playing with their friends, that we're developing them individually. So yes, there is a difference between team training when it comes to club football, the private academy, or individual player development. All individual, we have group sessions, but they are individually personalized to players to make sure they develop in a group environment. So that's the only difference. Team training, which is club football, and then it comes to private academy, whether it be in a group sessions or in an individual environment as well. What about yourself on that, Ocean, when it comes to the difference between team training and individual player development?
Yeah, I think just the difference is what you can work on and how you work on stuff. Team training obviously is going to be more focused on developing the whole group. And obviously some players and teams are going to be further ahead than others. So it's kind of, if you're focusing on the players that are below par, the better players aren't getting as much focus. But then if you're focusing on the players that are at the top of the level in the team, the players down below can't catch up to that and it takes too long for them and kind of push them away from football. And then individual is obviously you're focused on your own game. It's just you, the ball and the coach. So it allows for a lot quicker development personally. than in a group environment. But at the same time, you've got to be able to manage the two of them and put them together because you work the two of them to off each other. Like the endless possibilities that are there are huge.
Yeah, it's about doing both of them 100%. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I'll do my team training at this percent, or I do the private academy or private coaching sessions 100%. No, 50%. No, both of them you need to give it all. With the combination of both of them, the chances of getting to the highest level is very, very high. The key areas every ambitious player should work on: technique, decision making, scanning, weak foot, fitness, and recovery.
Yeah,
Ocean,
I'd
yeah.
say most important one would be your technique. Your technique is probably the hardest one to develop, but it's also the one that will benefit you the most if you do develop. Fitness obviously can come and go with injuries, like personal stuff on going on in your life. Recovery all depends, same thing, on like personal stuff and how much work you're willing to put in. But that technique is kind of, even if you give up and you don't play football for 2, 3 years, you never lose that technique. It might take you a week or two, whatever, to get back into it, but you still have it, and that's kind of stays as almost muscle memory. Whereas the rest of the stuff can kind of fade off, come back, develop on, and then drop off again. It's really inconsistent unless you keep at it and keep at it. Whereas your technique is just, once you nail it, it's there for good, whether it takes you 2, 3 weeks to get it back because you've stopped playing or what, but it's always going to be there.
Yeah, combination of everything really. You want to be a complete player. You want to be, what we mean by that, you want to be a well-rounded player. What's a well-rounded player? A player that's kind of can tick most of all the boxes when it comes to the game. Now, there is a period of time where it's technique, some technical flaws that you have that you can work on, especially when you have the right coach and the right people with you. And then you might have situations where you might have to only work on your decision making. You need a combination of all of it. So it's about that training cycle. It's also about training in the moment. It's about realizing, okay, what a particular player needs. Like I said, in our academy, we go by week, moment by moment, what the players particularly need for the next week. We kind of tailor around it. So yes, it's a combination of both the timing of delivering any of those, working on those qualities, whether it be technique, decision making, scanning, week four, fitness and recovery. It's about that training cycle to make sure that we become more of a well-rounded player. But yes, I do love a well-rounded player. So smarter training is definitely more effective. What we mean by that is, if you've played a match and the next day you want to work on recovery, you could maybe cycle, you know what I mean, rather than just sitting on the couch and just flaking out. You can maybe just go on a bike and cycle as your recovery. You can maybe go for a walk, you know what I mean, anywhere in the mountains, on the road. You can do a lot of different things being effective rather than doing nothing at all. Yes. And also, when it comes to training more, if you train incorrectly, if you're going and passing the ball incorrectly, you become more worse at it. So it's about smart training, getting the right detail of the training of whatever you're doing. If it's the dribbling or the passing or the shooting, are you making the right contact points? Because the more you train the brain the wrong way and going out to practice and you practice incorrectly, over time you become a worse player. So yeah, training effectively, making sure you're training the correct technique, making sure everything that you do is intentional practice. If you don't know what the best technique is, then you can maybe go seek and you find a coach that can help you. When you go out there and you practice, it's becoming effective, it's becoming simple, it's becoming intentional, and it can help you get to your goal quicker. Like I say to players all the time, you can get to your destination, but it's about, can we get you to your destination quicker? Can we get you to where you need to get to quicker? And that's why if you're training, intentional training, you're training with the right technical detail, you're going to get to your destination quicker. So if a coach can't help you do that, then they're not the right coach for you really, because a coach job is, can I be able to get you to get to your destination quicker rather than taking you years? And how do we do that? Effective training, intentional training, like I said, the correct technical training, So yes, that would be my saying on that. What about yourself, Oshin?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I feel like the smarter the training, the more beneficial it is for you. Like if you're going out and training 5 times a week, but your technique's very poor and you're not looking at how to improve that. You're just going through and going, yeah, this is how I pass the ball. This is how was taught how to pass the ball. I'm going to keep doing it this way. It can actually harm your growth more than if you were smart about it and thought about things and focus on learning and improving, especially with this smarter training. Like if you have a match on a Saturday, there's no point going and doing a fast run, 5K run for time on the Friday because you're just burning yourself out. Like if you're going to do anything, maybe a quick 2K just kind of to get the legs moving, get the blood flowing. And then maybe earlier in the week, you could have done a long 5K to keep yourself ticking over, keep that fitness up. But it's all about being smart with your training schedule and working off based on what you have next and leaving a good enough time gap between each session that you're not affecting every session with what you've done previously.
Yeah, when it comes to that 5K, 2K, like you mentioned, obviously not everyone needs to do that, depending on how your aerobic conditioning is. If you need an aerobic walk, or you need more ball walk. Obviously, some players, I would say, mate, you need to go get some aerobic base on. So you better crank up on that. And then some players might be a bit of both anaerobic, and then some players might just be sharp work. I believe in actually training the day before a match. I believe in sharpness work before a match. I believe in training, so when you come into the match, it's continuous. The kind of training you do the day before is quite important. It is sharp training. That's why obviously we have some sessions on Fridays where players come in and train with us on a Friday and they're going on a Saturday and they're smashing it. Even in the college program that we run, the football and education, we train really sharp the day before a match. So I'm not a believer of resting the day before training because then your body has to get up. So there's no doubt about it. The way I look at a football match is pretty much an extension of training. It's an extension of what you do in training. So you not doing anything the day before training it's actually damage to you. At least when it comes to the next day, your body's ready to go. So match is not really a big deal. Match is really an extension of your training sessions. How many extra sessions should a young player do each week? All depends really. And that's why private academy coming to Ireland is going to be huge for Ireland. Private academies have been in the US and in England, in many parts of the world, and that's why they've kind of progressed so far. Now, Ireland is starting to boom now when it comes to private coaching, private academies. Brilliant, because who's going to benefit the most? The players, because it's giving them extra contact time, extra quality sessions, because there's no doubt about it. A grassroots coach is never going to be as good as a top level coach. So for a child to get an opportunity now with all the private academies opening up where there's experts, hopefully, because some are not, some are debatable. But when you have experts actually delivering some of those sessions, wow, what an opportunity for your child to get some extra contact time. Do you get what I mean? Extra contact time or high level coaching. So when they go back to their grassroots teams or the academies, they can be able to implement that and they're flying. So yes, as much contact time as you can. You can never train enough when it comes to doing stuff with the ball. The way the world has changed, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, players used to be on the grass, kicking around with their friends and doing more now. And that's why private academies, because now there's no more playing on the streets as much anymore. So they need those private academies being there to supplement their opportunity to be able to do those extra sessions. What about yourself, Ocean? How many extra sessions do you think a young player should do each week?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say as much as you can, the more contact you have with the ball, the better. I might also say now that we're kind of in the off season, the season's finished, you have your break until you come back for pre-season. I'd try get into some sort of, whether it's a 5-a-side tournament, full size, like I'm currently doing a full 11-a-side tournament out in UCD, just to keep that touch with the ball and keep my fitness up over while I'm not training with my club, to kind of stop myself from dropping off too far and having to rebuild again. So I feel like if players can try to do that, whether it's 5-a-side, 7-a-side, full-size matches, 11-a-side, just get something you can do where it's match realistic, match intensity, and you're keeping that high intensity development up throughout the off season.
Okay, last question. How do you know if a player is serious about improving? Look, there's a couple of signs. Look, working with players who are serious about improving, because we like success. I'm driven. I'm determined. What players am I attracted to the most? That I like working with the most are serious about improving, serious about getting better each day. What I mean by that is they want to improve. They're consistent. Players who want to improve rarely miss a session. When I'm working with players, because I'm going to be there, I don't miss sessions. You'll never ever see me miss sessions. If it might be just maybe like, something emergency happen, which touch wood hasn't ever happened, but I will always be there. So what do I need for my player? To be there. consistent. Be consistent. We need to know that you're going to show up. When I know a player is serious about improving, when they show up, rain or snow, doesn't matter the weather, they're ready to go. They come in, they're ready to go. That means we give them everything because we want to see them achieve their goals and their dreams. So when I see players like that, we give them everything. They might not be as talented, but if they're serious and they show up every single day, that makes me more motivated to make sure that they're able to achieve whatever their goals and dreams and expectations are. So yes, consistency, showing up every single day and giving it 100%. Look at a player and go, yeah, you're serious about improving. What about yourself, Oisin, there?
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I'd also add in players that turn up early or like 15 minutes early. Like I've always kind of grown up with the whole thing from my parents that if you're told to meet at 3 o'clock and you're there at 3 o'clock, it's a bit of disrespect. You're showing up late. You should always be 15, 20 minutes earlier just to allow for anything happening on the way to show that you're willing to put the work in to get there. So when I see players rocking up at, let's say, 3:30 when the session will start at 3:45 for our Friday sessions, I'm always looking at that player going, right, this player is serious about development and learning. So I'm willing to put more work into them because they're giving me the same back.
That rounds up this. Yeah. How do you think that went for you anyways, Ozal? How'd you find that?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. This one's especially important for the players to listen to. So hopefully you get a few of them to sit down and listen to it and understand what needed for them.
Brilliant, superb. Well, that's it. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Modern Legacy Podcast. Don't forget to follow the show, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who would benefit from it. Watch full episodes on YouTube at our Modern Legacy Soccer Academy. Proudly sponsored by Questa Sports, your official teamwear partner. Until next time, keep improving on and off the pitch. See you on the next one.